What's going on, guys? So, if you guys are thinking about getting into trucking, I just figured I'd make this video for those of you who are thinking about it or want to. You want to quit your day job, get into truck driving. And, well, first things first, I would definitely recommend it. Mainly because of the scenery. You get to see a lot of cool shit. But my first 3 months trucking has been okay, pretty stressful. I do step deck and Conestoga mainly. I also do van loads every now and then. The company I drive for, they do all three. It just varies. If it's a store load, it's usually a van or a Conestoga. Sometimes a step deck. I've done one store load that was a step deck. All the rest have been Conestoga or van. Most of the other places I go to, it's a step deck. But I've been all over the place. I've been clear back to Indiana. I've been to California several times, unfortunately. All over the place with this company. And it's really good money. I've been working here 3 months. And I am at 55 cents a mile with a 5 cent per mile per bonus, or bonus on certain loads. So if it's a pipe load or a resin load, which is the plastic ABS compound used to make PVC and ABS pipe, if I take the loads and don't complain, I get a 5 cent per mile bonus. So it's like I'm making 60 cents a mile. That's pretty good for a company, especially after 3 months. They started me at 50 cents a mile. Now, most companies aren't going to pay that. I already technically worked for this company before I got my CDO. I happened to be grandfathered in, basically. But that's just what they pay. They pay 50 cents a mile. If you go with like Swift or Knight, you're only going to be making about 40, 45 maybe. Anything 50 and above is good money. To put it roughly, I make about $7,000 a month. It's pretty good money. But granted, that's running 3,500 to 4,000 miles a week. And gone all the time. So I live in Idaho, but I work out of Utah. And when I go home, they just send me loads home back to Boise. I never roll empty. If I do have to roll empty, they still pay me. A lot of companies will not do that, so I really like this company for that reason. I have nothing bad to say about this company other than how they load the trailers is really fucked. But if you're looking at getting into trucking, make sure it is 100% what you want to do. You will be at home or away from home quite a while. Up until this weekend, I was gone for 3 weeks. I was not expecting to go back home this last weekend, but they had an emergency load that had to be taken up to Boise, and so they offered it to me, so I took it and went home for the weekend. I told them I didn't need to be home till August 20th originally. So that is one of the downsides. If you like to be home all the time, well, it's not the job for you. Money-wise, it's good, but you have to be dedicated to it. You have to focus and be disciplined. You have to get up early enough and leave and not waste your drive time. Don't be stopping at every truck stop or every scenic, lookout on the side of the road. And I know sometimes that's hard to do. You see a lot of cool stuff, a lot of neat scenery, and it can be hard to not do that sometimes. But you just gotta not do that. It can be stressful. Certain places, like going through California. I think the most stressful place I have driven through is Chicago. Chicago and Phoenix and Los Angeles are the most stressful places. Las Vegas is also stressful, but not as bad. Salt Lake, where I work out of, is also very stressful. A lot of idiot drivers that don't know how to drive, and they're cutting you off and in and out. So if that's a thing that really bothers you, probably not the job for you. But for those people who like to get out and travel and explore, it's definitely, I would definitely recommend it. It is a great job. I love it. I love going to work every day and waking up every day knowing that I'm doing this. It's fun. I have a hell of a lot of fun doing it. I get to meet a lot of new people and see a lot of cool places, and it's very cool. And I always have a bit of home with me on the road, so, you know, I always know that, hey, I've always got home with me, you know. And it's cool. I mean, my truck's kind of cool. It gets messy, obviously, being on the road, but it's really good money. I would recommend getting with a company, though, starting off as doing dry van or refrigerated over flatbed or Conestoga, because I wish I could have done that. It would have been a lot easier, a lot less stressful, especially if the equipment's not broken. When the company has broken equipment, it really makes your day a lot worse. It takes away from your drive time and your ability to do your job efficiently, which really sucks, and that's less money in your pocket. I also follow this guy Trucks. He gave me a lot of informative tips by watching his videos, and he helped inspire me to get my CDL. I've had my CDL since April. So 4 months. Not bad. It's a lot different, but the other thing is if you have a poor driving record, you probably won't get a job very easily with your CDL. And if you have a lot of stuff on your background, you may not get hired. What's another thing I can point out? A lot of companies like you to have 6 months experience. Swift will take anybody, even if you just graduated from school, or just were like me and just got your CDL on your own accord. That's what I did. I just took the tests. I went down to the DMV, and I went to a place in Caldwell, Idaho called Sage Trucking, and I did a couple. They had a thing where you can do a practice course, a 2-hour or a 4-hour, and you pay so much money, and then after that practice course you take the test, and the test is obviously a fee that's included in with the practice course. So I did that a couple times, and I was able to get my CDL, and the company I was working for, they knew I was getting my CDL, and as soon as I got it, they sent me down to Salt Lake for training for a couple weeks, and I got my CDL, and I got driving. Now I do this full time. But I would recommend that, getting on with a company like that. Don't go to Swift, don't go to Knight or CR England or any of those guys. They are just looking to fill a seat, and they don't really give a shit about their drivers, putting it plain and simple. They really don't. They will treat you like shit. You'll be underpaid, overworked, definitely. But also be careful on the local guys you drive for. There's a lot of guys, especially here in Idaho, the smaller trucking companies, and they're usually a 1099 job, which I guess is okay. You just have to put away a little bit from each paycheck and pay taxes at the end of the year. I don't have to do that because I have regular W-2. But some of those smaller companies will overwork you and run you illegally with the logs. Not a good company to work for. I know of a guy recently who just quit a job with a trucking company that was doing that, a local one, and he works for another one now, so we'll see how that works. But they were working him overworking him and telling him to fudge his logs. And it's just not a good idea. I just would not recommend that for anybody. But bottom line is, I recommend trucking 100%. It's a good way to make a living. It's fun. Yeah, you're not home all the time, but you get to see a lot of cool shit. You get to meet a lot of cool people, and you get experiences that you wouldn't have gotten otherwise. And it's just a fun job overall. And there's always going to be a shortage of truck drivers, unfortunately, because of how many lazy people there is nowadays not wanting to do this job. It's really not that complicated. It's one of the easiest jobs I've had. I sit here all day. When I have to unload, I get out, I unload. That's the other thing, real quick. Before I end the video, this company, we have to unload, strap our unloads, obviously. I do flatbed and Conestoga most of the time, so I'm having to strap up, which isn't a huge deal. I get paid for it, so it's not too big of a deal. That's why I would recommend more of a company that does van or refrigerated, because it's less that you have to do, less strapping, tarping, whatever, and it's more drive time. And if you're new to this, like I still kind of am, it's more drive time that you don't waste, and you can use that time to drive and get where you need to go, or as a backup in case you have emergencies like a flat tire or something, you break down on the side of the road. You always have that extra time to kill, and you're not like in a time crunch because you have to hurry and get the load there. I had that with this last load. This last load was really fucked up, and it screwed me up the whole weekend. But it is what it is. But bottom line, if you're looking into going into trucking, I definitely recommend it. I would highly suggest it. And I would definitely try and get your CDL on your own accord. The schools are kind of like the trucking companies. They'll screw you around. They just want your money. So definitely recommend it. I hope my video was very informative to you guys, and I hope I could persuade you more into trucking. So until next time, y'all have a good one and keep your sticks on the ice.